Which musicians are revered but are actually horrible people? Chuck Berry assaulted multiple women, some of which he pleaded guilty for, was found with CP in his possession at a raid on his home, spied on women in restrooms and a fuck ton of really messed up shit. Chuck Berry used to hide cameras into women's toilets. Most of them. Mick Jagger had sex with 15-year-olds when he was in his 30s. Don Henley did. And one of them died in his pool. He got probation. And so on. My grandpa went to school with one of Bing Crosby's sons, and apparently Bing was a massively abusive shit. I don't remember every detail, and I'm sure you can read up on it on Gary Crosby's book Going My Own Way, but there was a lot of rants during holidays where my grandpa would talk about how Bing would lock his sons up in their room and not feed them for days and other horrendous shit like that. Not entirely sure on the complete validity of the details of his claims, but the book is there and should provide more information on what it was like to be Bing Crosby's son. Ian Watkins. I can never listen to Lost Prophets again thanks to that disgusting filthy lowlife of a man. Die Antwoord are horrible human beings. Ivan Moody, lead singer of Five Finger Death Punch. He has a repeated history of violence towards women, including girlfriends, his sister and mom. Steven Tyler. X200B. If you search pedophile in a dictionary, his photo should pop up. Steven Tyler is among the worst for his relationship with a child in the 70s, going so far as to become her legal guardian so as to travel across state lines with her. Jennifer Lopez. She's a despicable human being that treats service workers like garbage. It's also come to light that she hasn't even sung a great deal of her songs herself. And that which she has sung is not great. Chris Brown's songs still get hundreds of millions of views. John Phillips from the Mamas and Papas. I know someone who was in close quarters with Jack White and he was a dick to her the whole time. I also have friends who played a Morrissey show. If you make ICO not the asshole CT with him, he will apparently drop out of the lineup. Mind you, this was a stadium gig. On the other hand, Debbie Harry from Blondie was a sweetheart. She baked cookies for the band and treated them like family. They've only ever had nice things to say about her. Edited to correctly refer to Debbie Harry by her name instead of her band's name. Jared Leto. Steve Miller. The Black Keys were tasked with introducing him into the Rock Roll Hall of Fame some years ago, and they said he was such a miserable asshole the entire time, they left the ceremony as soon as he went on stage to perform. Mr. Phil Spector. Steven Tyler tried to rape my mom in the 70s. Ever since she told me that, it's been really difficult to listen to their music. In fact, I haven't listened to their music willingly since she told me. Fuck that dude. How dare you force yourself on someone when there are other women who throw themselves at you with consent? I'm sure my mom wasn't the first and I doubt she was the last. Looking forward to when people step forward about him. The longer I live, the more horrible my favorite artists turn out to be. Can you separate art from artist? Sometimes it's easy to, other times, not so easy for me, anyway. I'm a big fan of several musicians that I would never want to be stuck in an elevator with, or try to engage with them as a person. But I still enjoy their art. It's a form of hypocrisy that I am apparently okay to live with. That's my shame, I guess. Chuck Berry. His credit for the birth of rock and roll. He was a horrible person. Multiple sex offenses including child abuse and child porn. Apparently he was extremely difficult to work with too. Might be easier to ask which one is a good person. Edit well, a small joke has escalated quickly and it's good there's good people out there. Ike Turner. For some reason Cannibal Corpse are fucking sweethearts, then you got Ian from the Lost Prophets being a POS. Gary Glitter. If you're into older music, Bing Crosby and Frank Sinatra were both known wife abusers. Randy Newman, massive heightist. S. How about we go about this the far faster and easier way? Musicians who aren't actually horrible people. 1. Dolly Parton. Famed oboist Adolf Hitler was a bit of a cunt. The list musicians who are good people would be smaller. Most people in show business are pieces of shit. I'm Rick James, bitch. I've scrolled for 10 minutes and no one talking about how Cardi B admitted to drugging and robbing men to get through her hard times. She wasn't even accused of it, she told it on live TV like a joke and the audience laughed. I think this one is a hit or miss at being a POS. I think Drake is a wolf in sheep's clothing. I thought he was kinda a scumbag when he made the God's Plan music video, just using wealth and constantly flaunting it, using people's poverty to prove points and doing ridiculous stuff like that. Then he suddenly has been confirmed to have sent texts to Millie Bobby Brown and Billie Eilish both when they were underage. The man is just too suspicious for me. He just comes off as a hidden monster. I could be reading him wrong, but I still dislike him highly. Henry VIII wrote Greensleeves suspected domestic abuse, missing heads, etc. Ernesto de la Cruz, anyone? Spinal Tap. Wouldn't listen to a limo driver tell them about Frank Sinatra. Stevie Wonder. He has 9 children and never sees them. Stan Getz was a complete asshole. Eric Clapton. Travis fucking Scott. Danny Elfman wrote the song Little Girls for Oingo Boingo based on what he saw in the industry and read in newspapers. That should tell you all you need to know about the music industry. Madonna. Walking human trash. Gene Simmons. Held my breath as I searched this thread for Robert Smith or Jimmy Eat World. No results. That makes me happy. I'm surprised no one has mentioned Marvin Gaye. I couldn't listen to his music for a while after I found out about how he treated his wife and women in general. He did some sick, twisted shit. I believe he referred to himself as the last great male chauvinist. Weird Al. Has done nothing wrong ever and I love him. Eric Clapton. He's like gas station coffee. Unbearable without cream. I was personally called a lazy, good-for-nothing, fucking stoner who should have better learned from the adults in my life by none other than Bob Dylan, who famously introduced the Beatles to weed and said never trust anyone over 30. Didn't Jimmy Page bring his underage girlfriend on tour with him? I think she was 13 when they started dating. I love Led Zeppelin, but knowing that makes it a bit weird. Extentation. A lot of the famous rock stars from the 70s 80s that were messing around with minors, LMAO. A. Kelly. I wouldn't say Grimes is revered, but her fanbase has drastically turned on her in the last 5 years. She was always a mess pre-Elon, but so many of her decisions in the last several years have just been flat out stupid and it's hard to support her. Jared. Fucking. Leto. Steven Tyler. The rest of the band absolutely hates him. Miles Davis. If you're into classic rock, pretty much all of them. Edit. Thanks to everyone replying to this comment with exceptions to the rule. Maybe the question should be which musicians are revered and aren't actually half bad. Drake, he is a groomer. Doesn't Beyoncé use sweatshop to produce her clothing line? Chris Brown beats women. Chris Brown beats women. Chris Brown beats